Hello and welcome, gorgeous Gemini. I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com and I've got your May horoscope. But firstly, we're going to draw two cards as theme cards for the month for you. So let's go to the board now. Here's your horoscope and we'll come to that directly. And a very happy birthday to all early Geminis. It's your birthday coming up on the end of this month and into June. So the first card for Gemini, what do I see? Safety pins. Well, safety. Look at the name, safety pins. So it gives you a bit of a backstop. It's a safety net for you. But it's also associated, in my mind at least, with children. So you may be having more to do with children, but I suspect even more likely is that you'll be dealing with your own inner child this month. The card that comes up for you is the Temperance card. Balance is really important. Always take the middle path. I've got the feeling that some of you may draw in extreme people in that they act or verbalise in extreme ways, and so you've got to work out, is that the sort of life you want? Perhaps balance might be more boring, but it's a bit more peaceful too. So be cautious about any conspiracy theories and things like that, because they tend to be on the extreme. Not always wrong. Sometimes some of those things, probably less than 10% in my opinion, but the odd thing, under further investigation we find out there is some basis of fact there. But a lot of the information in conspiracy theories is incorrect, and we're looking at an extreme minority of the population. So I don't know, and it depends, part of that statement, it depends what country you're in, but certainly in Australia these sort of extreme views are not held by the majority of society. So this is saying just try and maintain equilibrium, stay in balance. If you come across extreme viewpoints, extreme people, maybe give them a broad berth and let them go on their merry way. So it's a major arcana card. It's pretty important for your happiness that you stay on the middle path. The second card, the second half of the month, what do I see? I get the word monkeys. Monkeys, I don't know. Don't know what that means. Maybe people acting like monkeys. I don't know how. Oh, well, that's not true. I do know how monkeys act. So years ago, decades actually ago, I had a boutique shop and I had a lady, Elizabeth her name was, I don't remember the surname now. She was South African. She used to come in and chat to me sometimes, and she used to live on her husband was a ranger in one of these big parks where they have all the wild animals, because they have to be in parks, of course, otherwise they just get killed by poachers. But she was telling me they had monkeys that she was raising. She said they were very, very neurotic creatures. So they weren't like babies or children at all. They were just very, very neurotic and destructive. Now, they may have been like that from seeing their parents, the tribe, their herd, I don't know what it's, flock of monkeys, what are they called? Let me know in the comments, because that's annoying me now that I can't think of what it's called. But maybe they went destructive and neurotic after experiencing a lot of trauma and abuse. So maybe you might have some destructive or neurotic sort of energies if that's you, if you've been abused or you've suffered some extreme tragedy, especially those sorts of tragedies that not normally expected in the human condition. So that might be something like a war or an earthquake. Earthquakes, I've only been through minor earthquakes, nothing in Australia. We don't really have them very much here at all. They rarely cause damage like in New Zealand. New Zealand's right on the fault line. They have a lot of really bad earthquakes there. But apparently that can give you post-traumatic stress disorder going through earthquakes. The card that comes up for you is the Six of Pentacles. It's about your money, being in control of your money, deciding who you're going to pay, when you're going to pay them, and how you're going to pay. So this is basically saying that money is likely to be a focus. In itself, it's neither positive nor negative, but if you can be generous, if you can afford to be generous, that would really help a lot of people out. You can see here people asking you for money. These might be people like your children who want a loan. For example, if it is a loan, make sure you're very clear about that, and if you expect to be paid back, you'll need to put some conditions around that. Especially if it's children, they'll just conveniently forget. So money is focused in the second half of the month. Now I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. There we go. So hopefully you can see it. We start the month off with this minor grand trine, this pattern here. It's a very favourable pattern between Pluto, Mars and Jupiter. It starts the month, and it's a type of talent triangle. So you have some skills, you have some creativity, which is going to help you surge forward with maybe socialising, maybe meeting new people. But Mars there, it is conjunct Neptune as well, so you could be meeting very spiritual people or forming spiritual relationships with people. Also, your hopes and dreams could fall into that category where they become more spiritual as well, but you're filled with motivation and energy to go ahead on those fronts. And the transformational nature of Pluto is feeding into that, along with Jupiter. So this is really favourable. So I would make hay while the sun shines. Get out, socialise as much as possible. You could meet some wonderful people, go to some fantastic groups and have a really good time, and it could change your life. We also have the new moon in Taurus on the 7th of the month. Down here, new beginnings in your spiritual life. You see here the subconscious basically is causing a lot of stuff to come up. There's a big party in there with Jupiter, Uranus, the Sun and Venus. So a lot of planetary activity stirring up your deeper, not necessarily darker, sometimes it is darker, but your deep unconscious could be really swirling around. So do watch your dreams, try and get in plenty of time for meditation, because you could get some really full-on helpful messages. The full moon is in Sagittarius on the 23rd of the month over here, and this brings some sort of culmination or completion around relationships, or perhaps legalities, or even to do with what's called open enemies, the people that you don't necessarily get along with very well. You know who they are. But the full moon there can sometimes cause a lot of subconscious energy to come up in your relationships. Doesn't mean it's bad. Sometimes it's like a venting where you vent to your partner. But it also can be a culmination, and especially to do with women, because it's the moon. You might find that there's something going on with women, not necessarily unfavourable though. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius on the 2nd of the month up here brings transformation, but because it's retrograde, it's likely to be internalised. So your normal everyday life probably continues on as usual, but you've got all of this subconscious energy coming up for release. And because it's here in the 9th house, this is to do with you expanding your life in some way. So this might be travel, it might be education, it might be spirituality, but we seem to be getting a few hits on the term spirituality while I'm doing this reading. So that's what I think it's most likely to be. You may be thinking about travel to other countries as well, but not necessarily acting right at the very minute, maybe just thinking about it. Mercury goes into Taurus on the 15th here, again enhancing your messages you might be getting from your subconscious, and this can be through dreams or meditation, or even those sort of little flashes you get in the daytime. If you're going about normal sorts of things that you do, your daily routine, and you do it sort of mindlessly without thinking too much, sometimes while you're doing those rote sorts of routines, that allows a bit of space for spirit to operate in your mind. It opens up the mind so then you can get glimpses down into your subconscious. So do be on the lookout for messages there. The Sun goes into Gemini on the 20th, Venus goes into Gemini on the 23rd, and Jupiter goes into Gemini on the 5th. So this is in your sign, so there's likely to be, again, I said happy birthday. Oh, hello, Harry. Likely to be a sense of happiness or insight, or perhaps you become very aware. With Venus, you could be putting off a beautiful, friendly or affectionate sort of vibration. People notice and they think what a beautiful person you are, either inside or out. And with Jupiter going in there as well, that brings even more energy. There's likely to be a lot of expansion around your belief systems, what you think about yourself. And so this is Prince Harry, if you haven't joined me. So he's a brown Bengal. Sit down, everyone can see your pattern if you sit down. And yes, you're a lovely boy. So it's a very important time in terms of your identity and in terms of your appearance and even your body. You might become more interested in making your body look more beautiful, or trying to get your body to reflect who you really are so that you're more authentic in the way you present yourself to the world. And you could also be oh, you're a beautiful boy, aren't you? So you could also be getting out a little bit more and trying to get your message out into the world. You're likely to be quite successful doing that. All right. Thank you again, dear Gemini. Thanks so much for joining me today. And don't forget to subscribe and be alive, and also to leave a like and a comment. That would be great. Have a wonderful month. I'll see you all again soon, and so will Harry. Bye for now.